I was looking at Redo's stuff.
Yeah.
The first issue I think has already been fixed.
Oh,
Redeploying RGW when the cert got fixed. I think there was like 3 different trackers for this, but I have to
okay.
go find
So
it.
for what it's worth, what I had originally said on mute is I'm more interested in the two issues under the second bullet point, the not the automatic redeploy. So if you don't mind, and we could start with the some items to review slash discuss, I'd appreciate it because I got to leave at the half-hour mark.
Yeah, we can skip the first one because I think it's already fixed anyway. So
Okay. Well, if he joins later and wants to discuss it, you can talk with him.
should it be here 5 to 7 minutes? I mean, that was pretty specific, so I don't know if we'll actually be here that soon, but should be here soonish.
It probably depends on whatever delayed him, whether he has more control over.
Well, I know he's picking someone up from his get out from school.
Ah, yeah.
Um,
He probably knows what his commute or
yeah,
travel
I assume
times.
it's fairly consistent, but I don't know exactly when you're gonna get back. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
So if you don't mind, I want to start talking about that Keep Alive D image thing because that sort of interested me.
yeah, we have one that we made. Um,
Yeah,
like
it looks
this,
like it hasn't been updated in a long time, unless that's the wrong image.
though the Arc TS one, um, we don't use the one on Dog Hub anymore. I still say. Guillaume made
Okay.
one,
Right. Okay.
and
So off of the link tracker, it links to a Quay.io one.
yes,
I'll link it in this
that's
chat.
probably the one. It should be on the Quaio Ceph.
Yeah, it is.
And we have there's this thing here. Let me link that in the chat. So this is the actual image, right? You just linked.
I think so. Again, I don't know if that's the one we use. That's the one that's linked from the tracker in question. My goodness, I can't open the right tab to save.
Yeah. So the thing I just linked, that's the directory we have our stuff for the Keep Alive that we made. Where Guillaume did it, I think.
Yeah, so I think the issue is possibly that it needs to be run more regularly, either through GitHub or Quay.io auto build, because I think what the Dmitry Savina was complaining about is that it's way out of date and it's got vulnerabilities and stuff, and that's definitely the case of the one I linked to. They may not be like the most major issues in the world, but Quay is detecting 14 high vulnerabilities.
The tracker mentioned 2.0.5. Looks like we have 2.1.5. We definitely should get on one of the 2.2. Actually, there was a pull request that we said we were going to do this for. Some guy was trying to update it, actually.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can find that real quick.
Just I don't know how
Oh,
this
that's HA
repo or
proxy.
how this container repo got populated with Guillaume pushed it manually or whatever. It might be
Pretty sure it was
worthwhile
manually.
setting up some kind of like monthly auto build just to keep the base image up to date. Have to mess with it.
Yeah, at least on main. We could probably cap it
Yeah,
somewhere for the one we use for Quincy. Maybe we could just push
yeah,
multiple versions of it and have the
yeah.
Quincy
You could
be
definitely
hard
do that
coded.
with that different. You can even use the same repo, just different tags.
Yeah. All right, I linked the part that was at the HA proxy. I was thinking, not a keep alive, but it was the same issue. Some guy wanted to update the HA proxy image, and
Ah,
I'm like, oh, we actually have our own. We need to make one, but we never actually got around to doing it. Gum was super busy with some other things.
all right. Well, at some point, someone created a Keep Alive D, but it's probably it was done as a one-off, and it's clearly
I
lagging
sort of
behind the
remember when it got made.
pace.
It was we were having trouble with the rate limiting stuff from Docker, and
Mhm.
so we just made a keep alive the image and put it on there.
Ah,
And I guess we've just sort of used that one for a long time, and we've never updated any of them. But I guess we need to sort of track what other things we're pushing that aren't the Ceph image a bit better. Uh, and
yeah, I
generally,
don't know how if there should be like a canonical way to do it. Like I know the Ceph stuff is going to be a little different, but whether this is just its own repo under the Ceph org or whatever, like it's not clear for me. To me,
I think it's so. This is just the Quay.io Ceph one, where all the actual like releases get pushed as
Right.
well. But some people have permission to push here, which is why Guillaume I think did
Right.
it because he can do that. I don't think I can. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so
And
maybe we'll
again, like
say
I think you can set up Quay to do auto builds on a schedule. So maybe that's just like, hey, use this GitHub repo as a source and build an image weekly or something.
maybe we'll set that up. Even if we just had like a more recent one than this, yeah, it's a good start as well. I think we just
Yeah.
wanted
Oh, yeah.
to.
Yeah, definitely would be a good start, even if it's just another manual push. But my thought is, we're just going to get into the situation again. 6 months down the line, and there's like, oh, this thing is not up to date. Oh, well, it's because it's a manual process. A manual process is gonna.
Yeah, so we have a few of them we have to update. I guess HA proxy from that PR, Keep Alive needs to. I guess all our whole ingress thing needs it. I'm trying to remember if there's any other that we push ourselves. I don't think so. I think we just use the upstream ones for like Grafana and Docker. I don't remember. Yeah.
No. Anyway, that's just my thought. Is just automate where we can, because otherwise we'll just get into this situation again in 6 months or a year.
Yeah, I'll have to talk about it with Guillaume. He's not here
Okay.
unfortunately, so I can't get
Right.
super far on this. But
Yeah, he usually doesn't come to this one.
yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, we use other people's stuff for pretty much all the other ones. It's like it's just as we push our own Grafana, HA proxy, and Keep Alive. But I don't think I think someone else. I think the dashboard team handles the Grafana one. I'm pretty sure they do that. I think it's really mostly just these Ingress ones we have to worry about right now. I'll bring it up. I don't know how much time he has right now to dedicate to this, but we'll see about it. Or maybe he can just tell me how to build it or something. I think I need permissions to push to this repo. He used to work on the subcontainer stuff a lot, so I think he has a bunch of permissions that I don't have.
Right.
Yeah, I'll make sure to have a chat with him about that. I'm not sure how much harder we get. It seems like we probably need some sort of automation to check. I don't know, to rebuild it, I guess, every once in a while, even if it was super uncommon, like once a month or something.
Hmm.
The other thing on here, dual stack, the documentation thing. Problem with this thing is I actually don't know if this works because the upstream lab only has IPv4.
All right. Oh, sorry, you've already moved on to the second
Oh
topic or
yeah,
the
I have.
next.
I don't know. Is there anything else you want to
Okay.
say about the images as well? I
No,
thought
no,
we were
no.
going to switch on that.
That's fine. I'm no worries. I didn't realize you had. When you said IPv6, I realized you had moved on, but I didn't kind of
Yeah, I
realize
didn't
you
make
were
it clear, I guess.
switching.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything else to say about the other one. So
Yeah, like you said, we gotta talk to more people.
anyway, I'm not really. It's hard with IPv6 stuff because again, we don't have any of it in the lab.
Yeah, if it's not tested, it's really hard to say whether it works or doesn't.
Yeah. So like I could
So is
document like,
that?
oh, I tried it once and some other system
Yeah,
and it worked fine, but I don't actually know.
I guess that's the real thing, is talking to the folks who run the lab and say, we need IPv6, whether it's dual stack or whatever. Just you need some sort of IPv6 support on the systems, and then we can start testing it.
I had a while back, but essentially I got denied. Basically, like we don't have the resources to do that right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly what to do. But I could ask again, I guess. Although the lab's been having a lot of trouble, I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's the thing, is if you don't say anything, it never gets on anybody's schedule.
But I asked
But
David Galloway once, back when he was running
yeah.
stuff. He wasn't able to do it, at least at that time. I could ask again.
The nodes themselves get provisioned, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole hardware gets installed in the lab. So I guess my silly wonder, and possibly because I haven't used enough IPv6 hands-on, but if it was just local networking, like we weren't asking to get IPv6 routed addresses, I wonder if you could start with something simple, just having like the mons and the manager and everything talking to each other. I don't know. It might be challenging. I'm
I
just
mean, I know those work
throwing
on
ideas
IPv6.
out
I don't
there.
know how they test it at all, but I know they have stuff about like dual stack and whatever. That's what this like
Yeah,
progress asking about Ceph in particular.
right.
Because we don't test any of that stuff. And obviously, we care a lot about SSH and all that. Um,
Yeah.
that for it to work. But I've never had a chance to test it anywhere, fortunately.
All right.
Yeah, I remember fixing some bugs last year related to that, but I don't remember like if there's any kind of special setup
Yeah,
for
basically
taking
right
those
now
bugs.
so we don't have anything really for it. I think we do try to support it. Like if people bring up stuff that in particular that's broken, we'll try to fix it. But it's pretty much only tested through unit tests right now because we don't
Yeah,
have any lab stuff for it. So a bunch of the
yeah,
unit tests will do tests where they do IPv4 and IPv6 and make sure some basic stuff like looks good and like making valid IPs and everything. But we don't have any actual like integration testing that deploys the system and tries using IPv6.
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I don't remember like if there's possibility to provide two different IPs. I mean, an IPv version 4 and IP version 6 in the same bootstrap command line, because I remember it was always like the same. If you provide IPv6, it would be IPv6, or
Yeah.
yeah. So you can't mix them as far as I remember.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense to like if you're gonna set it up on one, so you're gonna set it up on one and not the other. But I believe what the dual stack question means is, I have an interface. I have both an IPv6 address on it and an IPv4 address on it.
Mhm.
What happens?
I don't know. Like right
Yeah,
now, I'm trying to think, what do you even use those IPs for? So I know for the only thing we obviously SSH to the host, and then we like set up like monitoring config stuff. Usually, is
yeah,
the use cases for it. And I feel like for the config stuff, we do have a bunch of testing, or not proper, but like unit testing around that those get set up properly. But we don't have anything to test like SSHing the nodes
Yeah.
with IPv6 addresses at all. Which that's the really important one because if that doesn't work, then nothing works. But it's kind of hard because like what would I don't know without lab systems to test it on, there's nothing really be done. Like I don't think a unit test would be of any use for that.
Like I think the real key is to get it on their schedule, whether it's low in the priority task heap or whatever, and then just periodically say, hey, anytime someone brings it up, say, hey, that's because we need testing infrastructure, whether it's upstream or downstream. And you can say,
yeah. So the first question in the tracker is how to bootstrap by providing both IPv4 and IPv6. Not sure if this setup makes sense. I have always seen like if only using one version, not mix of them. So I'm not sure if you can have like monitors running on different IPs with a mix of IPs. Not sure if that makes sense.
I know there's some weird config options about this. And I want to say like they try to make that work, but I remember there being some problems with it. Like somebody had like the reason I think I've heard about it was because somebody tried doing it and I think something didn't work or whatever. Like or turning on like IPv6 disabled IPv4 and wasn't supposed to, or
Yeah.
I think they were attempting to make that work, but I don't know if it actually does. Again, I don't know. I don't think they're able to test it either.
You mean the
Maybe they
Raiders
can.
team?
Yeah,
Uh,
this was something about the monitors. I think, pretty
okay.
sure. But anyway, I don't think I think they have the same problem we do, which is they can't actually test it integration wise. I don't think you can use IPv6 for those technology tests.
So maybe this is
I,
somebody from
I think we're
QA
at the
was.
mercy of I think we're at the mercy of waiting for a really large downstream customer to really want it.
Yeah. I mean, if we had some customer already asking for that, so probably that will get
Yeah.
more parity, obviously.
Yeah, pretty much all the IPv6 bugs we see come from upstream trackers, from upstream users. I don't ever see like downstream stuff about IPv6 for whatever reason. I
Yeah, I
assume
think it
Just
we'll
like
varies a
somebody
lot
from
based on
QA.
institution and country where they're deploying.
so I don't know. It's hard. I guess I can maybe bring it up again if the lab is ever stable for like more than a couple of weeks at a time. I'll bring it up again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They had problems with the networking stuff in general last week, so they updated some networking software and everything broke for a while. And that was not trying to do anything new. I think that was just like updating the software. So if that's enough to break things, I don't know if they want to mess with it right now. But again, if things are stabilized for a little bit, bring it up maybe.
Yeah.
Um,
Seems like somebody from QA was testing this combination. Maybe there's some request for that support because the kind of combinations he's trying are
maybe.
not worried, but seems like somebody's trying something.
Yeah,
And
and
there's
like I
always
said
people trying.
earlier, if we could ask for something minimal, like just unrouted addresses, and if they're like, yeah, all you need to do is hack this script, should be able to start simple. In fact, if you want to, you could cheat and test IPv6 support at the same time as disconnected cluster.
There you go.
Yeah.
We can set up a little repo on there and just have our own little one node cluster that does whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, I can't. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to document that we can support it yet until we get like a
Right.
real proper thing. So
Yeah.
I could look into that, but I don't know what the. Well, I guess if it was broken, I get a lot out of it. But then we know it won't even work that far. If it worked, I wouldn't get much.
No. And especially with IPv6, we have still a couple of places where it's not supported properly. So
Problem is,
yeah,
it's hard to find those until we have the testing in place.
yeah.
So I think we're always going to miss something.
And that for Ingress, there are some upstream issues related with that, like how to set IPv6 with Ingress. I saw some issues related with that.
So we can at least try to fix those. At least those, maybe we can get the upstream person to try them once they're fixed. See if they come back.
Yeah.
But I could also maybe manually test those a little bit. Might be some way to do that. But at least I can't have like the automated testing that we do, like the proper one, cover that yet. So we are at sort of the mercy of, I guess, upstream users testing it for us a little bit, seeing if it works. They're like actual proper setups, at least for now. But we can we'll have to revisit it, I think, once the lab is a bit more stable. Ask about it. But I think what I remember them saying before, I guess that wouldn't affect networking. It seemed like they were saying before the lab was like really full. They had no room for other machines, but that has nothing to do with the networking, I think.
That makes no sense because it's just this is more of a software thing than a
Yeah, so this wouldn't affect
I
that.
need more boxes. Yeah.
This was a different problem. I just remember them bringing it up in general. But as I said it, I realized that it has nothing to do with networking and would not affect us at all.
Yeah.
It's just in terms of having the number of machines you have. Yeah, we'll just have to see once things are a bit more stable. We can bring it up again. We'll see how possible it is.
Yeah, and like I said, we should definitely be willing to volunteer to do some of the lifting because it's mostly an install time thing, except for like the router.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know if the network switches and stuff in that lab.
Well, switches shouldn't matter. It's more of a router thing. Again, I'm not a deep expert on networking, but I don't think switches care because that's going to be Ethernet.
That's true. Yeah, I mess those up in my head sometimes. The switches and the.
Yeah, no worries.
Anyway, while you weren't here, we talked about the first two trackers.
The first one, the one related with the redeploy, you mean?
Yeah, well, both the first two. So that one and the keep alive image, HA proxy,
Okay,
whatever
yeah,
that one was.
the other one I just put it because since we are working keep live, the just to see if there
So I'm
are
just going to summarize what we said earlier. For keep alive, I'm going to ask Guillaume about it a little bit because I think you need permissions to push to that repo or we're putting that image. I don't think I have them. So Guillaume, because he worked with Ceph Container before, I think can do it. So I'll talk to him a little bit about it. I don't know how hard it is to rebuild that image on like using 2.2 something instead of 2.1. If it's super easy, maybe we can get it quickly.
Yeah. So the image you are using right now is a little bit old as far as
It's 2.1.5. It was pushed a little over a year ago, February of last year.
Mhm.
So it's not 2.0.5 like the tracker is talking about. We're a little bit more up to date than that. But we are still not on a 2.2.x, which is the more recent one. There might even be a more recent one than that.
And I
And I
remember
linked in the
somebody
chat.
else.
What?
Yeah, I was just comment like I remember somebody else also asking to update the HA proxy to the
I linked
newest.
the. I don't think you can see the chat anymore, but I linked the pull request earlier. That was a guy asking to update it from like 2.6 or something, whatever HA proxy version.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe if we will be updating the HA proxy, then maybe we can just update keep alive at the same time, so we do the testing only once for both images.
Yeah. First, we do the images pushed on there. Then we can run a test that actually tries updating what the images point to in our code. So the first thing I guess is just getting the image up. Then we can do actual testing on them after. That's what we did last time. We first put these up there. They used to point to the Docker images. And then we pushed the Quay ones up, and then you had like a pull request that tried changing both the defaults. And then that got pushed through after they got tested.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll have to talk about Guillaume. Guillaume can at least help with getting the image up itself, and then we can the pull request to set the image after is super trivial. So let me try it after.
And then the only other thing was I was advocating for automation to keep these up to date by rebuilding the image on a schedule or whatever.
Yeah. We did that, and then also
at least for
what?
Yeah, I mean for HA proxy, at least they have this long-term supported image. Not sure if Keep Alive they do have something similar.
I have no idea how often they push those ones. I haven't looked.
The HA proxy, at least in the pull request, they are asking to upgrade to the latest long-term support image. It would be good if Keep Alive they has something similar and something stable.
Yeah, I'll have to check when we look at that one, if that one has something like that. At least at the very least, we want to get onto some 2.2 something image. And we can check after that if there's one that's properly supported.
Yeah.
So that, and also that first tracker, I think, is already fixed. The thing getting redeployed, service changes. I was gonna have to go find the pull request that I think fixed it, but I think it got fixed at least in main a while back.
Okay.
Like a month or two ago.
Does it apply to more services? I mean, do we
I think
always...
what the change did was if you change the spec, you reapply a spec. When we save it, we trigger off like it's got like a service action, and the service action is what handled this stuff. And so anything that is a service action will get affected by the change in this. Not everything action we do is a service action, so not everything, but like say like the setting the stuff for the spec or putting the cert into the config key store, which we do for RGW, that's a service action. So that will get redone. But I have to look at everything. Like if you have something in particular that you think should be done, I'd have to check if that falls under that or not.
Okay.
But at least we have at least there's now a infrastructure for it. Like we have the service action, and then the service action gets redone when you re-upload the spec.
I was thinking like if it makes sense to redeploy.
I gotta drop. Talk to you guys later.
Okay, John.
Bye.
Have a good day. Right. So I was thinking like if it makes sense to redeploy whenever the spec changes, but maybe there are some cases when we are not interested in doing that.
If we want to redeploy the daemons, we probably have to include the spec option as a dependency. That's how we've done those before.
The spec option as a
So like,
dependency. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. So like, say like for the extra container args, for example, we
Mhm.
consider those to be a dependency. So I check this, whatever spec the daemon belongs to. If the extra container args change, then that again gets redeployed
I was
later.
thinking not in other services depending on that spec, but like for the main service, the owner of the spec, do we redeploy the service whenever any change is done on the spec file, or it's
No, not in
something that the
general.
user has to do? Yeah.
You have to redeploy. Just do like a redeploy
Yeah.
command after that.
So, and the next question is, does it make sense to have this done automatically? I mean, it doesn't make sense to have daemons running with old configuration if we have changed the spec.
I mean, we've done it on a case by case basis because there's certain cases where I don't want to. Like, you have some huge OSD spec that like has made like a 100 OSDs, and you change like one thing, so it also like say it also includes this other disk or something. I don't want to redeploy all of them because it doesn't do anything. Like, they're going to be the same.
Oh,
You
yeah, I
have to be
see.
sort of careful with what things you do that on.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why I want to do it on a dependency basis, where like if this thing is worth redeploying it over, like we're gonna have that as a dependency for the daemon, and then we'll do the reconfiguration or whatever.
Yeah. And so it's
Um,
it's fine-tune the thing.
yeah, and then again we have the service action thing, which that's anything that's not like deploying the daemon itself, that we have to do service wide. That depends on the spec. We can put stuff in there. Those are also a thing. So each like service type has a service action, and you pass it like a spec file, whatever spec you're doing, and it'll do something based on that spec. Like for RUW, it sets the SSL cert into the config key store. And so one of the when I originally had fixed, I think is pretty much the same issue as this earlier. It was that somebody had changed the RGW spec, and then the service action wasn't getting re-triggered, so we never got set properly in the config key store, because we only were doing service actions whenever we deployed a new daemon. So I just changed it in that pull request to do it whenever you reapply the spec. So yeah, if there's anything we want to do that's like service-wise instead of specific to an individual daemon, we can put it there. And then things for specific daemons, I think it should belong as dependencies for the daemon type. And we can use the spec as part of setting up those dependencies. Like we do that for iSCSI does that. It has a trusted IP list. If that gets modified, that's considered a dependency for iSCSI, and so it'll redeploy the iSCSI daemons to trusted IP lists. Make sure they all have, because they have to have identical trusted IP lists in order to work properly. So it redeploys all the iSCSI daemons for that service spec.
Yeah,
So we can do it that way.
makes sense. Yeah. Okay, great. So if your fixes this issue, we can just revisit it, and maybe we can just close it if it's already.
I just want to find the pull request that did it. See if I at least link it to that tracker. There was even a duplicate tracker linked on there. I have to verify it actually did what I think it did as well. Let me see. Make sure it's actually closed too. I think it's closed though. Check real quick. It's not closed. Still open. Here.
But it's already fixed actually.
That's it. I'm not sure where it is, but I'm pretty sure there was something for it. I'll take a look for the meeting.
Okay.
I just don't know where it is right now. And I'll ping you offline if I find it.
Okay. That's good.
All right. The other thing I had in here for today was I linked, there's an out-of-date compatibility doc about Podman versions. Like we sort of like, I don't know, I haven't been updated in a while. Although like it last specs 16.2.1. And some guy was asking about it on the mailing list. But I think the thing is we haven't ever updated it because things have sort of been okay since We got to, I don't know, past those three, I guess. After Podman 3, I don't think there's been anything that I remember broke anything. So we've never bothered updating the doc. Like 16.2.1 onwards with anything above 3.0 has seemed to have worked okay. So I'm wondering maybe we just want to add in like change that from like to that from 3.0 to 3.x and then have another thing that's like 4.2 or something and say like that one also works. I don't know.
You mean this one?
Yes, I looked at it in the other pad.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly that table right there is what I'm talking about. So we used to have problems with it, as you see from all like the true false stuff in early stages. But I think since 3.0 and the later Pacific versions, I don't remember there being anything that's broken. I think there was that host.containers internal thing that was a problem, but that wasn't breaking everything. That was like a problem for like specifically iSCSI. And so I don't think I would put in here like, oh, it's incompatible. We really almost want to say like anything greater than 3.0 with anything greater than 16.2.1 right now works. But we kind of need to add more entries here. Right now, to anyone who doesn't know what this is, like they look at this, they think like, oh, I can't use FADM with Podman greater than 3.0.
Yeah, it's could be misleading.
Yeah, so that's what some guys in the email list ended up responding to him saying like, I think you should be fine to use like 4.x FADM. We don't know of any problems. So I was trying to think of what's a good way to, because I don't want to like extend the table infinitely doing like, oh, 3.1, 3.2, and they say them, they're all just say like true or whatever release.
Yeah.
I don't know what's a good way to make this table work. I don't want to expand it infinitely with all these point releases.
So in fact, with any Podman version higher than 3.0 should be compatible with any Ceph version higher than 16.2.1. Is that true?
I think so. So I think whatever worked for 16.2.1 should also work with like even main branch right now. So I'm pretty sure it is just anything higher than 3.0 works with any release higher than 16.2.0. Like that graph, where the graph ends, like anything that's like outside of like beyond those rows and columns in that charts is actually working. But we just need a good way to signify that.
Yeah.
Not sure exactly what to do with it. But I don't know, I'll come up with something.
Maybe we can like modify this first sentence and put this more generic, like we can say like any Podman version higher than 3.0 with any version higher than 16.2.1 should be good to go.
Yeah.
And
You're
then
probably
if
right
you
that we
need
probably
more
need to
details,
state the words instead of making more column entries and something.
Yeah. Like for people, especially from upstream, they normally use latest version of Ceph and of Podman, so they can.
Yeah, like I know downstream QE. I think even the testing lab at this point uses like 4.2, and it's been testing that with like a bunch of Quincy versions and stuff. Even Pacific, there haven't been any problems as far as I know. So I might modify even the beginning part to say like in the early like CephPDM days, like there was a lot of dependency issues with Podman. Like nowadays, from this release onwards, with this Podman onwards.
Exactly.
As far as we know.
Like if you need more details, then you can see the metrics.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were using an earlier Octopus or Pacific one, then you have to actually check that, or an early Podman version. But anything else, probably okay.
Yeah.
While I'm on this page, I think look at the bottom of the page is also pretty out of date, I think. I don't know if you need to say RDW is not stable anymore.
Dora, I'm already getting 4.3.1, so.
Yeah, I think I was looking at, I had 4.2 something and whatever I was looking at for VM I had. I don't remember. I think because I don't remember what version the current is installed you're playing, but I'm pretty sure it's a 4 something.
They are picking some modern one, must be for something, yes.
Yeah, so pretty much all like the more recent like 8.stream stuff is
In a way, I still see some upstream trackers that fail from time to time, and they seem to be using very old version. Not sure if some nodes are like stuck in that version and that don't get upgrades, because I remember
They
that
get
in the series
re-imaged
managed
with stuff. It should be pretty
Mhm.
consistent, I think. It might be. I think the different branches use different. Maybe it was something that happens only against specific or something.
that could be like for all
If you had like an
pages.
example tracker, I could check it.
I have to find it. I can send it to you offline.
We'll do it later. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, for the general issue, I guess all the sentences about
Yeah.
compatibility in general. And I want to also review the bottom of that page, because I don't think that's super accurate anymore either. Like it says like
Yeah, Ceph is under development. I think nowadays it's quite stable. So maybe
yeah, like I don't expect anything with RGW or Ingress to be broken. Like if there's something broken, like it's a bug, you should tell us. But I don't. There's nothing like I know of. Like there's a huge development effort going on.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think probably all this section probably doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, quite
Yeah.
stable. It's being used in production. So if there is any bug, you can just put some link to the Ceph tracker maybe. So they can just know how to fill the bags with the proper fields. That could be useful. But
Do
not sure
that.
if this is the right place to put it.
Yeah, like I probably want to leave the thing at the bottom about pausing, say data stability something. That's still useful information if something's broken.
Yeah.
But the parts about what types are incomplete is wrong. That needs to be removed. So maybe just a general sentence like FEM is relatively stable now.
Yep.
And then I can remove most of these things. I can maybe leave like the FEM exporter in there because that one is very new. It's only in main branch. But the other ones like Ingress, Cephs, Mirror, and RGW have been around for a pretty long time. Those have probably been like a couple of years. Those got added into this doc. Yeah. So it's just kind of misleading now.
Yeah, especially RW Ingress. Not sure about CFS Mirror, but all of
We
these
don't do
features
too
are
much with
being
it, but
used.
it's been stable. Like we haven't touched it in a while. So either nobody's using it or it works fine.
You know, the time I've been here, I don't remember fixing any bug related with CFS, so
Yeah, I
must
remember
be
it like once,
stable.
but there's been almost nothing. Like I said, it seems like things have been okay.
Yeah, I think you can just like remove all this section because Stephidium is, or just put like stable Stephidium is already been used in production and
Yeah.
in new
At
issues you
least
can
through
report.
Pacific, that's been used. We've seen used in production downstream, and then I'm sure people have used Quincy a little bit upstream at this point.
Yeah, and they have made a lot of fixes last year also in not in Reef, previous one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll update that. I'll make some pull requests to update this whole page,
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about that a little bit, but other than that, yeah, I'll find the pull request for that first tracker you linked, and I'll talk to Guillaume about the Ingress images. Get those fixed.
Images.
All right.
Awesome.
Anything else, or are we good?
I think we're good. Nothing more from my side.
All right. Sounds good. See you later.
See you. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.